surfer the world has ever seen. He's in the water right now. He's in an elimination round, and Strider, knowing him as you do, how's he feeling right now? Does he get mad? Does he get even?
I think he's just going to go into combat mode like usual. I mean, we've seen him do it all, so why not see him do it right here? Look at this.
Live action off the bat, late drop from Slater, parks it in the barrel, backside, and this thing could hose him down the beach, and he finishes off with a massive hit to finish. The crowd goes absolutely mental below us here. What a way to kick things off, Strider. What?
Like I said, combat mode. Eyes rolled back, just incredible. I saw him just before the heat, picking boards, talking to Belly, you know, kind of like his old flame, so to speak, in his corner. And what a way to kick off a heat. That wave, like I said it before, the waves are pumping. Look at that drop straight into a huge, thick barrel, slows himself down, completely disappears, comes out in front of it, and then wants more in the lip line. Trying to hit the lip and do a lip line floater on a wave like that out here takes a lot of commitment. I mean, it's really solid out there right now. Big waves, and watching him just go after it makes me feel like this man, and you heard him say it on that piece, I want to win. And if I'm still here, that means I still want to win. Look at that spinning barrel, holding the wall, just gauging himself, slowing himself down just enough to stay behind the curtain, comes out in front of it, puts the board perfectly up onto the lip line, but then comes down and gets a little bit thrown off by that water coming down, almost riding out of it there. Very impressive. The GOAT, 50 years old, and showing everybody that he's ready for it.
All right, behind him in live action, we're checking out Conor O'Leary, also featuring in this elimination round heat, 35 minutes of it. Also got the young Portuguese wildcard Antunes in the water too. What a way to kick things off for Kelly. Exactly the kind of opening he would have liked, Strider. And thinking about that win that he got, that pipeline to kick off the season. I mean, an emotional win, an iconic win, not a dry eye in the house, pretty much around the world and watching online as well. People chopping onions, and probably some tears going down, people watching just amazed to witness it.
Here we go, a little replay here from Conor. Nice little tube time, you know, comes out looking for more, but he's going to get out of that, realizing that he can get more out the back, but slows himself down just enough to get behind the curtain, disappears for a hot second, and then jumps back out. So Conor's got, you know, early this morning, he was out there getting barrels. He's been on a good warm-up. He's been surfing really well. Had great performance at pipeline, so in heavy waves, and I love to see this heat's going to be great. And we'll see if that rookie can, the young wild card can answer back, because his heat this morning, I think he came in with a goose egg. I don't even know if he rode a wave.
Yeah, had a bit of a nightmare early on. Let's see if he can give a better account of himself out here. Meanwhile, here's the number for Slater. Good start, 7.83 for him.
Yeah, if he would have made that floater, I think the score would have had to be excellent. And for me, just seeing the size of that wave, the technical ability to drop in under the hood like that and pull it up, get behind, completely disappear, I felt like it was an excellent score all day. But it is the beginning of the heat. They have to set the scale somewhere, and I think that they think they're gonna see more out of Kelly in this heat, as well as the other athletes.
Well, we've seen that ebb and flow throughout these heats this afternoon, where we do get a couple of quiet ones, and then we get the pulse. And this one pulsing right from the get-go. Kelly Slater having another sniff there, decides not to go. That pretty good choice. That one straight, just run away from him. Meanwhile, here goes Antunes, nice and stylish. It is a smaller wave, doesn't get super deep in it. And then he might look for a little ramp here, and he'll do a big backhand rotation, just lands out the back though. It'll feel much better for him just to get away and get into this.
Well, at least he's already doing better than he did in his first heat, right? Catching a wave, he's getting warmed up, and he's feeling like he's on a go.
So young Afonso Antunes, a second-generation pro out of Portugal. His dad, João Antunes, pro surfer back in the 90s, actually the first Portuguese surfer to make a heat on the CT at Figueira da Foz. Had a heat with Luke Egan and the commentary team's own BL, and second-generation pro, and he's an absolute ripper, this kid.
Well, some lineage there within the surf world, looking like he's trying to slow himself down, picking off a really nice little wave, though, good shape, and coming out, throwing it to the air into the wind. Gets a nice rotation, but just lands on top there, so it doesn't get to carry the momentum back into the wave. Very hard to do, time that in the lip, and, you know, with the wind and everything on hand to actually ride out of that.
You wonder what's going on in that young man's mind. He's got a tough heat here. Conor O'Leary, absolutely solid surfer with a brilliant tube and air game, some big hammers too, but also you see that shiny, shaved head of Kelly Slater. You see that game face that he has. It must be fairly terrifying to come up against that as a wild card.
Yeah, he's probably just trying to quiet the noise and have some fun. You know, being from Portugal, try to slip into a good zone where he's in a free surf almost, and just try and find as many ways as he can to soak up this opportunity.
Condition-wise, Strider throughout the afternoon, we've had moments with absolute bombs coming through. It does seem to be a question of those surfers able to find the rhythm. When we talk about Kelly and what he can do, and before he even manages to get his feet on a wave, he's always had that rhythm with the ocean, right? And it looks like, you know, he's in good rhythm already in this one. How do you think this is going to play out for him? Looking good so far.
Almost always. Sometimes he picks the, he was trying to go left at sunset, you know, but back to this heat, he's definitely started out this thing with a bang.
All right, here goes Conor O'Leary. He'll go backhand on a meaty right-hander. We'll watch from above, and then we'll pick up the angle from the tower as he gets consumed in a bit of an explosion. Finding the exit crucial, of course, at Super Tubos. You've got to put yourself deep enough behind the section to really access the scores. But of course, the jeopardy involved there is trying to get the exit. He'll deal with a little bit of white water and take that on the head. But a confident customer, Conor O'Leary, able to get really low off that bottom turn. Got a beautiful start on the backhand.
Yeah, he's got great technique. He can do it in all size waves. We've seen him in the air, we've seen him on the face, we've seen him in the barrel, big and small. So, you know, obviously he can get it done. Here we go, dropping in, grabbing the rail, going fast off the corner there, but that thing just had a rib up the face, it looked like, and he kind of got stuck on it, and that thing took him down.
So this one just settling down now after absolute scenes to open up, with Slater getting straight in the barrel for a good score. The 7.33 coming early on. Just got a small throwaway to go with. That's a real situation yet. Wait for everyone to get a couple of scores in. 35 minutes to get it done. Just trying the important thing here, just don't come third, right? 1 or 2 going through.
Oh, yeah. Interesting. You know, the scale's been set. So you look at that first wave of Kelly Slater, which was an all-out bomb. Really critical, heavy section, comes out, gets spit through the tube. You're gonna have to better that to get anything over, you know, the 7.33 that Slater has there. So it's just an interesting look into the scale that's been set.
All right, well, speaking of people finding rhythm, that's what Griffin Colapinto was able to do in the last heat. And he's standing by with Louisa. All right, well, we'll try to join Louisa again in a sec. Meanwhile, we'll just pick up live action here. You can see the winds just ruffling out of the north. It's blown straight into those lefts. It's a little bit cleaner on the rights and more sheltered. Slater having a look and just on the prowl here. He's seen something, looks like, Strider.
Well, he is always hunting and gathering and wanting more out of everything. It's just, I mean, just the energy you would feel starting out a heat like that, but the competitiveness and the knowledge, knowing he needs another wave. So he's probably in his mind frantically thinking about backing up the score that he has. And that would be his goal at the moment, to put himself in a more comfortable position in this heat.
Well, been a little while since we've seen Kelly in action here in Portugal. It's a real treat to have him in town. Putting on a bit of a show already. An inauspicious first round heat for him. Conditions not really what you'd expect from Super Tubos yesterday. We had to really grind out some heats and get it done, and he was on the wrong end of a third place. That's why I find him in this elimination round, but already in a pretty good spot. And this one, he's got a good score in the back pocket already. No one else able to do much work as yet. And as ever, as Super Tubos, as that tide fills in, you do get to a point, Strider, where we start to think, sure, there's barrels out there, but there's also going to be some fatter ones and maybe some rips coming into play too.
Yeah, I do believe that the waves are sizable enough to keep the tube alive, so to speak. So I feel like we're going to still be seeing barrels through the afternoon. But I do, you know, the big airs into that on the lefts into the wind will be coming to play, and the big carves on the face will definitely start to happen more and more as that tide fills in. Or is it already high tide? Is it? I'm not even sure.
Let's go and hear from Griffin Colapinto with Louisa.
That was a really tough heat. So you got really pushed in there. How was it for you inside the water?
It was really cool because I was out there with my good friend Kalohe and Nat. Nat's from Santa Cruz. Brother and I live in the same town in California, so you know, we've been surfing together for a long time, and they've been my mentor since I was little. So it was kind of trippy to be in a heat together, but it was really cool to just take it all in. And the waves started firing right when we started our heat, so it was kind of as good as it gets.
Amazing. And you, Owen Wright, Malia Manuel, and Conor Coffin chose the same woman to surf for. Why is that for you?
Because Bethany Hamilton, I mean, her story is amazing. The fact that she got her arm bit off by a shark and then was able to keep going and started charging as hard or harder than any of the girls these days. It's just beyond me. So yeah, that's why I put her on my back, and you know, just that courage. I want to try and represent that courage in this contest with these kinds of waves. So yeah, I'm excited.
What are you expecting for your next heat?
I'm expecting a hard heat. Every heat's really difficult, and you just got to be smart and patient and calm. And so I'm going to try and do that.
Amazing. We'll see you next. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bethany Hamilton, the inspiration for Griff. And what a role model she is. As we're checking out Conor O'Leary. And he gets himself behind a section, not super deep, but he's got to turn in or get a little hammer on an oncoming whitewater section. So just trying to put some points on the board, build that house that we like to talk about. And that strategy of getting numbers on early in a heat, giving your adversary something to aim at. Just thinking, let's have another look at this here, Strider.
Yeah, he does well. He drops in, he eyeballs the section, he's looking for the tube time, and he comes up high. So he starts high, and then he drives down low through the barrel as he comes out. So he's going to gain speed with that momentum from the high to low, and then sees a section off the end there. Could take to the air, but decides to just power through a turn and get himself something on the board that he knows he can sit on. You know, you go to the air there, you're going to come away with a, you don't make it, you're going to come away with a score that's not going to be as much as you could have complete that last, turn. So I think he's just kind of played it safe a bit, just so that he can come away with something to put in the bag and kind of feel like he had some weight.
Smart strategy from Conor O'Leary. It's himself a flat 5 for his efforts. And as you were saying, Strider, but maybe at some point not think too much about going these massive tubes and going excellent necessarily. Obviously, if they come, that's the strategy, but you also just got to get something, put some numbers on the scoreboard. It is 1 and 2 advancing from this elimination heat into the next round. At the moment, Afonso Antunes with his work yet ahead of him, just the one on the board. Coming in as the wild card here, our MEO wild card into the event. Just be savouring a historic moment to surf against the GOAT. Let's get another look at the backhand effort from Conor.
Straight up into the lip. This guy is so reactive that, he's going to put together enough to put himself into an advancing position in this heat. To me, he's kind of like the solid, steady guy who, you got to watch out for. Now look at him running around on the beach. He looks like he's got a real comfortable board under his feet. Looks super solid, super fit, and he's going to do the run around. The reason why is that that current is going from north to south. And once you get down that south and trying to paddle back out through the waves and paddle all the way back up to the takeoff spot, it will take a lot of time and a lot of energy. So almost coming in, running around, and then doing the shorter paddle back out makes you feel like you've gained some time. At least that's the goal.
We've seen that strategy used effectively throughout the day-to-day. Meanwhile, putting it in the tube behind a section goes the youngster. And unfortunately, after traveling quite some way in that one, unable to find an exit. And a sharp intake of breath from our crowd who love their local surfers here. Meanwhile, Slater, he's deep and he's traveling and he's coming out. Kelly Slater. Another barrel from him, this time on the right, and the crowd absolutely lapping this up, Strider, as are we.
Oh, say hello to my little friend coming out of the barrel right there. I loved it. I was interested as to why he let Alfonso take that first wave, because Kelly Slater had priority. Well, that was why he identified something out the back bigger and better and found himself, because they were kind of shadowing each other there in the lineup. And here is Alfonso's replay. Holds the wall, but then just gets chucked off right at the end and sucked over the falls. Unfortunate, as he looked like he was coming through that. And then Slater finds himself a beautiful wall, just slides right underneath the hood. It's nice and deep, spits, he comes out, tries to go for the lip line again. But yeah, really hard to come out and negotiate that finishing turn. But the work was done in the barrel, and that's what these guys are getting the big points on. And you saw him dragging his hand before he went in the wall. That meant to slow him down so he could be as deep as possible. So when the judges are looking for you back behind that lip line and completely disappeared for as long as possible, that's going to put your points up as high as they can go for that wave.
Slater with his tail up already. He's got a score on the board. It's a pretty good one. He's going to get another as well. And we'll put him in a decent position in this one. There it is. Drops as a 5.77. Gives him a total of 13.1 so far. Just under 20 to go in our first elimination heat of the MEO Pro Portugal for the men. Kelly Slater is in the lead right now. Conor O'Leary, the second place position. Just a couple of mid-range ones for Conor.
It's interesting, just the scores, how they're dropping in and where they're sitting on the scale. But he has gotten severely barreled in this heat, and he's one of those guys that has now positioned himself with a backup score. Now we're going to see him let loose, I feel like. Now we're going to see, what I feel like the judges have scaled for, which is, an all-out blitz of really deep barrels and lip line and everything else that we would like to see out of a Kelly Slater.
Looking at the forecast, as we've been sort of looking into it and thinking, yeah, we've got some size, on offer here. We know what this wave does as a tube. And thinking about Kelly and his skill set and where he is with his surfing, obviously that performance at Pipeline, but in terms of the barrel, he's as good as he's ever been. He's as good as anyone in the world in the tube, and if we continue to see pumping waves here, he could well go deep into this event and set something really special up.
Yeah, I feel like the schedule suits him, and this is one of those stops on the schedule that suits him really well. You've got Chopu. I mean, you've got Pipeline that we saw. It's just so fun. I mean, we're going to go into J-Bay. We got all these different waves that really lend it to him, so he could find himself in a great position at the end of the year.
G-Land coming up after the just lurking there after the cut as a reward, not only for qualifying for next year's CT and for making the back season a chance for the Final Five. He had to go and surf G-Land and get severely bowed in Indonesian. Beautiful hollow tubes.
Place he loves, dear to his heart.
Right, 18 to go in this, just under. It's Slater with the lead right now. We're picking up Conor O'Leary as he squints into the low sunshine. Always kind of feels like it has that late afternoon here. We're facing slightly south, so the sun just sits a little bit more behind the wave than most of our venues in Europe, which generally face kind of slightly north of west into the swell. This one, the swell's got a wrap in strider. It is a pretty big and meaty swell, but I'll tell you what we've noticed throughout the day, there's that range still as well. We've seen kind of like 4 to 8 footers, something like that, right? But it's been pretty much on the money for our forecast.
Oh, yeah. And the way that the waves come in here, they do wrap around the corner, but with that, it will break the line and also have the swell bend in, and that's why you see these beautiful peaks as they approach.
We pick up vision of a long line, and no real opportunities available in that one. This heat will just simmer down with Slater with a nice total now. With all that heat craft that he's got and all that experience, he can now afford to look for opportunities that he feels have got more than a 5.77 on them. That's his low number. Antunes, just a couple of ones. Got plenty of time, though. It doesn't really obviously have the pressure. He's got to just basically enjoy surfing at what's a pretty local break for him. He comes from this west region of Portugal, so he lives between here and Santa Cruz. So a lot of our Portuguese pros from further down the coast, Cascais, Ericeira, but actually a real local to this area, the west region.
Nice. Well, it would probably be such an honor and a pleasure to be out there with, your opponents like Slater, and you've got Conor O'Leary, who's just a legend. I mean, the guy surfs so well. He's so sharp in the lip and does, he's such accurate positioning on a wave. The fundamentals from him are second to none watching him surf and slice up waves. It's so fun to watch him, and obviously Kelly Slater, there's not much you can't say about him. So if you're Alfonso, you're out there just lapping it up.
First heat of the elimination round underway. The GOAT, Kelly Slater, is in a pretty decent position so far in this one. We've got a lot left to come, though. Over 15.5 minutes remaining. We'll go to break. We'll be right back. Welcome back to live action from the MEO Pro Portugal. A crowd on a Friday afternoon watching the GOATs out in the water in the elimination round. Wasn't expecting to be here. Taking on Conor O'Leary and Antunes. And warming this one up right from the get-go. Getting a good number on the board, a 7.33 for a barrel on the left. He's backed himself up by getting tubed on the right too. He's in first place at the moment in this one. Strider, knowing him as you do, I'm just interested, as we just pick up a little vision from above, you can just see how thick that swell is. I'm just, take us inside Kelly's head at the moment. He's not, we talk about how competitive he is, right? We know that, that's kind of one of the things everyone says about Kelly. He's not really competing with the other guys on tour. It's more, is he here for legacy? I mean, what do you think the goals are really from him? He's got that win at the pipeline. If he went out now, we didn't see him again, he's gone out on a high, but where is he at mentally?
Well, no matter what, he's going out on a high. He's the greatest of all time. The win at Pipeline was an emotional win more than anything, right? To know that he can still do it, right? So you feel that, and it's just reassurance of a feeling that he has that he can still compete today and win on his day, right? So if he feels it, and on his best day, he can still beat the best surfers in the world, you know, in conditions like these. At Trussell's, can he say make the top 5 and then attain a world title? That's a tall task, and that would be something that would be really hard for him to do, because I feel like you're going to have to go above the lip at Trussell's.
But also the fact that maybe there is that talk around, maybe give him that little extra inspiration that he might need, because, you know, he'll think, all right, well, let's see where we go.
That's where I'm going with this. He feels like he's got something to prove to himself still, because he is that guy, and he's that competitive, and he always wants to win. He's not, you know, pushing around, just kind of mulling around, kicking rocks, and you know, he's here for just, you know, giggles. He wants it.
Thinking of our deep stats powered by Hydro Flask, they don't come much more impressive than the numbers for this man here. A ridiculous 56 career event wins, and a heat win percentage 71.97. I mean, any of the numbers, whichever way you look at them, for Kelly.
832 career heat wins.
So leading every category on tour. Of course, the real significant number as well as 11 world titles. And of those event wins, you know, we saw how significant that win was at the Pipe Pro earlier this year. It's been an amazing feeling for him. It's been a little while since he got his last win. And to know that not only he's still relevant to go better than anybody in the world, but also to do it in those conditions, Strider. How good was Pipe? How good was that win?
It was incredible, because when the waves are that good, you know, you just have to put yourself in a position where you're looking at something that it's almost like you have to calm yourself down. And I think that it was something actually Kelly said. He was just trying to relax going into some of those heats, because he was so frothed out about how good the waves really were. But you know, that's a feeling that I think he needs to bring into all of these heats. He needs to kind of bring up that level of intensity. He's going to have to look alive and feel really inspired and go into this stuff where the people on the beach and the judges notice that he has that in his surfing. And we're seeing that right now, because the waves are offering that. But it's when the waves don't offer that we're going to have to see it out of him.
The GOAT looking pretty chill right now. A man with a little bit more on his plate to think about. A young man is Antunes. He's a wild card in this event at the moment, just with a couple of ones on the board, so he's got work yet to do, and he'll be aiming at that total of Conor O'Leary. At the moment, it's 917 combined for Conor. He'll certainly be looking to improve on that as well. Won't want to go out at this stage of competition. Not many points on offer at this stage for an equal 30-30. It's really one you want to avoid, and even think about that jump up towards that next round. There is quite a significant number of points, and particularly when we start to think about that mid-year cut coming. Just 2 events to go after this one, down in Australia. And all those points are going to be absolutely significant. It's one of the changes to the tour this year. It's one of the changes that we've loved to see. Man surfing, we always appreciate Conor Coffin getting ready next heat. Didn't have a great one earlier today. He'll have a tough heat coming up as well in the elimination round. They're all tough at this level. We'll pick up vision from above. See the thickness of that swell. It's just got a little quiet in this one. Strider, Slater won't mind that too much. He's got his good work done.
He does, and he's got some great scores on the board. You know, the separation of scores between he and Conor O'Leary, I think there should be a little bit more of a separation, but That said, I don't think anybody's going to catch Kelly in this heat, because you're going to have to get a better barrel than Kelly got, and that's going to be really hard to do from what we've seen so far. Here we go, the local boy.
Oscar Barrow, former world junior champ, went great guns in this event as a rookie in 2015, getting into finals day. Absolutely ripped that year as well, and he's got a lot of power, a ton of speed as well, and he'll have an excellent read on these conditions. He'll have surfed it more than anybody in the draw, barring Federico Moraes. Let's go come up next in a toughie. Also Luca Macinas in that one. See how that goes down. Before we do that, let's just enjoy watching these from above. It looks like little ducks following the mama in the pond.
I was just gonna say, what's going on here? They're just trying to paddle for position. So you've got two swells in the water, a bit of a northwest, and then you've got the north or the west-northwest coming in as well. So there's that DP coming over those lefts, and then there's those rights running down the beach. You know, I think everything on offer. Just kind of timing your position out there. And this young man from Peru, great surfer, Luca Macinas.
Yeah, absolutely solid. What a year he had last year, to the Olympics as well, and really announcing himself on the global stage. Definitely shown flashes of being worthy in this kind of company.
I saw him, you know, he had a walkthrough at Pipeline. He made it deep into the event, and I saw him in the water. The waves were going crazy. I mean, it must have been 30-foot faces. I mean, just capping on the second reef, breaking all the way through, just, you know, really heavy waves. And he was kind of looking around. He's like, what do I do? Do I surf my heat by myself? And I just, you know, commented, yeah, go get the wave of your life, you know. But can you imagine being a rookie and you find yourself deep into the event, getting close to finals day, the waves are just pumping, and you're out at Pipeline by yourself?
What an amazing start to a young career for that man, full of promise and representing his nation very proudly. He had a world champion from Peru, Sofia Milanovic. Luca is representing for International Women's Day. We're celebrating that throughout the event here at the MEO Pro Portugal. See names on the back of the jersey. Slater, of course, sporting Lisa Anderson, fellow Floridian, the 4-time world champ. Unbelievably stylish performer, I guess. Maybe the one thing about her, we didn't really get to see it on webcast, right? She just came just in before that live broadcast era, so it's kind of magazines and VHS, and we didn't get to see her much as fans surfing live.
Oh, she was unbelievable. She had a grace to her, but a power, and, you know, was just a great representative for women's surfing. And, you know, that's why Kelly Slater's representing her out there right now, just, you know, with her on his back and really flying that flag.
All right, we lost a bit more time without really any additions to the scoreboard of note in this one. Just over 6 minutes and 15 seconds remaining. Let's check out the recap and see how this one's gone down. The go, Kelly Slater. Well, he started off all fireworks, guns blazing, Strider.
Oh, falling out of the sky, the biggest wave we've seen in the heat. Gets in behind the curtain, disappears for a second there, and just really, just technically, you know, dividing himself from the rest of the field and making it look pretty easy, yet doing almost the impossible on that drop to barrel into the lip line. What a way to start a heat. This is Conor O'Leary getting a little tube time of his own, holding the wall, pushing forward, disappearing, coming out, and then hits the oncoming section as well. So, you know, technical surfing, finds himself going fast and comes out into splitting up the lip line and pushing water over the back. This is Kelly Slater on a 5.77. You know, pushing through, and just how deep he was right there. That was beautiful, coming out after the spit. Really great surfing from Kelly Slater out here. And this is the condition that lends to him, powerful hollow waves.
Right, as we get down towards 4:15 local time here, we will bring you 3 more heats of the elimination round. This is the first of them. We're going to wrap up to our 4th heat of the elimination round. We had some holds this morning through the low tide. Always a factor here in Europe, particularly at this wave. Really does affect it. Waiting for conditions to come together. That's what we've done. It's been really enjoyable to see big scores go down, Strider, and also just really encouraging to see Super Tubos. I mean, the clue's in the name, right? We've seen big barrels, and that's why we're here, right?
Yeah, 100%. This is the there we go. There's his young lady, Kalani Miller, alongside Stephen Bell, who's been his you know, caddy coach for the better part of 20 years on tour, I want to say, and it's just an incredible teammate.
If you want to get to Kelly, you got to go through Belly.
Yeah, 100%.
And he'll be pretty happy with how his mate's getting on in this one. We see a wave stand up here. Not a load of action in the last 10 minutes or so in this. Just over 4 on the clock. Slater with the lead still. Also has that priority as well. The man who knows how to use it, although did end up on the wrong side of a call from a non-priority situation at sunset, and that would have kind of just taken a bit of wind out of his sails from that amazing start that he got to the year. It's been interesting to see him come over here and just kind of recover from that, even a little bit of a setback in the first round. It's great to see him back in form in this one.
Yeah, you know, Sunset, he doesn't have the greatest relationship with Sunset, so and he noted it, but for Kelly to find himself in a position where you have open face, beautiful barrels like this out here at Super Tubo, so you could get the blood flowing. He's got that energy, and you can see how excited he is to serve. He's out there competing right now. You can see him kind of hovering around his opponents just to make sure that, you know, he doesn't give up any opportunities. He's such a great competitor that, you know, even now he knows he's got this thing wrapped up, but he's not going to let his competitors get away from him to even have a chance to get back into the heat and put him in a different position, because he knows that anything can change that fast. If he can get a wave that was that good in the first couple of seconds of this heat, then his opponents can get him in the last couple of seconds, and he doesn't want to give him that opportunity.
Yeah, still everything on the line in this one, and of course Surfer finishing in 3rd position, goes out of competition here.
But you know, 3rd place, yeah, it's not the best. 33rd, but you're still walking away with $9,750 for your efforts.
Well, at the moment, that's the requirement for Afonso Antunes, coming in here as the MEO wild card, but really coming in here, making memories, surfing against the GOAT Kelly Slater, surfing in his home country in front of a passionate and packed crowd who love their Portuguese surfers, and a bright career ahead of Afonso. Wherever this one goes for him today, he's been outstanding in the junior ranks the last few years and putting together solid qualification campaign, trying to get through those Challenger Series, have a shot at this tour. As Slater would just kind of survey one from high, just kind of watch that one go, realised they had a little bit too much speed on it for him. And we'll see him redirect here from above. We're looking a little bit downwind from this angle, so it does look smoother as we go and watch Kelly stroke into one. Slater in action here, he's late, and he airdrops down. By the time he gets to the bottom of the wave, he has a load of white water and soup to deal with. He's not going to add to his score there. Just over 90 on the clock.
Yeah, he's got that rightitis. Keeps looking at the right. Just wants that right. He's a regular foot. But I'd say today those lefts are looking like the points. Although if he would have stuck this and got under the hood and it had a bigger barrel on it. See that white water coming up the face? That's why that wave kind of folded funny and didn't have that open face barrel on it.
Holding on to the drop, won't go far up the scale with that. Holding on to the lead as well, getting into that final minute now. Backlit conditions in afternoon sunshine at Super Tubos. That wind still whipping out of the north. Still cross off short, still plenty of barrels at the wave. It's really become iconic in Europe for throwing out big tubes for the world's best surfers.
And Conor's going to just try to close this thing out, stick right to Afonso and make sure that he doesn't give him any room as well. He's, you know, it's a one-wave score. He knows that that's possible. He's just going to, you know, he's got priority over the Portuguese surfer, so it's pretty much all she wrote.
Town of Peniche in the background there. That view will look a little bit brighter and nicer for Kelly Slater now, as it looks like he's got the win in the elimination round. And a little bit of a hiccup, bit of banana skin from his first round heat, getting 3rd in that one. In a heat where he saw his adversaries, but some airs. He's come out here and he's put himself in the barrel. He's warmed up the crowd. We've really enjoyed calling this one. Slater through to the next round, and he's back in form, Strider.
Yeah, congratulations and commiserations to the young Portuguese surfer, but you know, he